Now I know this is gonna be one of those videos where being an asshole to other artists doesn't equal criticism, but I think this is what I've been wanting to talk about since starting this channel, and I think this should be the right time doing so. If you're wondering about the bad audio, I don't have a good mic with me, so I'm simply using my headphones until I got the money for one, so with that out of the way, let's get straight ahead. This is Fran, a fellow small ArtTuber who isn't the brightest bulb in the art tree since we last met her over at Ponder's commentary video on her, since the drama that shall not be named here. Ever since then, she's been making different videos, basically on art and art criticism. In August of 2018, she uploaded a video called Every Art Style Ever, where she talks about artists ranging from 12 to 16 years old having the same art style and claiming that this is Steven Universe-esque or other modern cartoons, i.e. Adventure Time, Gumball, etc. Months later, videos popped out in response to her video. Natasha ZM, Butterscotch Arts, Toytala, Chillest Person, and just recently as I write this, Spock Dirt and Chaos 550 as a co-op. And now, me.
I look like a freaking hi.
Great way to start your video, and neither have I. I'll shut up now.
Hi everyone! So today I'm going to be talking about something that I think isn't talked about enough, and it's an issue I think we have in today's contemporary art era, and it's the fact that the majority of artists between the ages of 12 and 15 through 16 basically have the exact same art style, and I think it's damaging people's art development. I dived into DeviantArt to find some examples of artists like these to kind of represent the art style I'm talking about, and these are the people that I've picked. Renari, Yopio, Marbleach, Old Trash, and Minky. If any of you guys are watching this video, hi!
Hold the fuck up for a second. Did you give permission to these artists that you're critiquing their art? In Butterscotch's video, she notified these artists and stated that all of these art in your video are old pieces many months back. And as for Renari's case, they unfortunately quit art. When you give an artist criticism, you often need to ask permission if they are open to criticism. Critiquing someone's art without permission isn't often okay, and it's best to ask them if it's okay for they are open to feedback or constructive criticism.
I hope none of you get offended by anything that I'm gonna say in this video, because I'm not trying to offend you. I'm actually just trying to give my opinion and just point out things that I notice in people that have similar art styles to yours. So yeah, just trying to give critique and stuff.
In your opinion? This video smells more like a rant than a critique. I feel like not all of the rant hasn't been squeezed out from you. We're barely a minute in and we're in the downward spiral.
Before we take a look at the art styles, let's dive into why I personally think this whole movement of, the same art style is happening. I started to notice this trend happening back in 2013 when Steven Universe came out. Since then, cartoonish art made by people between the ages of 12 through 15 through 16 has all just kind of been a mush of the same thing, and you kind of start to not be able to tell artists apart. To me, this trend has started to get even worse when the whole when the whole musical craze started to happen, when everyone was obsessed with Hamilton and Heathers, and then the animatics started to come out, and
minus the annoying silly edits, there's nothing wrong with young artists getting their art style from shows like Steven Universe or any other modern cartoons in the 2010s. Take me for example. My art is an influence from anime because I watch anime, but not as much as I used to now, yet I have an art style that is still influenced from anime, although I'm still developing my own art style. Just because they're influenced by a specific show, or shows for that matter, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just the way that they're inspired by the show.
People have dubbed this art the Tumblr art style because that's where you mostly see this kind of art. Because, Steven Universe is kind of an SJW show, so that's where all of the art goes, onto Tumblr, the SJW website. However, I've noticed this art style on other websites too, like on DeviantArt and on Twitter. So I've given it the name Every Art Style Ever. I don't know the exact origin of this art style, but that's just my take on it. That's how I've seen it from my perspective. So yeah.
On a personal view, I like Steven Universe, but I don't think it's a show just for social justice warriors. I know a few people who like Steven Universe and yet they don't have a Tumblr, nor are they even a social justice warrior. So I don't know where you're getting that from. Also, there's more art like this than beyond the social networking sites that you mentioned. There's also at Mute, Discord, and even Amino has them. It's not really a problem, it's just a trend that younger artists pick up.
I'm going to be pointing out things like that I see a lot in this art style, like super common mistakes and just stuff that happens, and then I'm gonna talk about why it hinders your art improvement.
No, it doesn't. They don't see flaws in their art now, but they will see minor mistakes as they continue making art. They can see the mistakes as early as seconds after posting, which is mostly all of us, not gonna lie. And although there's some who don't see the flaws as quickly like that, they will see flaws in their art, even if their art is perfect as it is. Even the most flawless art pieces, such as the Mona Lisa, can be flawed in some way, shape, or form.
First thing I'm gonna be talking about is faces.
Thanks to the mariachi music, by the way.
The first thing I want to point out is the fact that the faces and all of the features look the same, always. Let's take a look at Renari's art style, for example. I rounded out her art styles into two, which I've also seen in other people's art. Her first is more Steven Universe-esque, and then her second one is extremely cartoony.
Because that's what it is, cartoony. It's not common to see young artists draw realistic art, and a quick way to draw art that isn't realistic is to draw cartoons because of its simplicity and unrealistic anatomy. This goes the same thing for unrealistic creatures such as monsters. Although the easier answer is, it's art, they can do whatever the fuck they want, they can do cartoons because they either like the art style, have an interest in animation, pursue a career of being a cartoonist, or all of the above. I know it's too much over what she said, but saying it's cartoony to a young artist likes to draw cartoons, it's like saying you're a pastry chef when all you do is bake too much pastry.
Let's take a look at the first. Now, if you look at these pictures, wow, receding hairline, who? Now, if you take a look at these pictures and think, wow, these all look the same, but I don't know, maybe I'm just messing up. Maybe I don't have an eye for art. You're actually right. It is all the same. Structurally, it's literally the same picture. I've gone ahead and highlighted all of these things for you. I'm not just accusing Renari of doing this. I'm like talking about all of the other artists mentioned in this list because they all just have the same face, but I just decided to take Renari as a primary example.
That's a common thing called same face syndrome. Every artist suffers from that occasionally. Skidoo loves and suffer from it, I suffer from it, and I think you do too. That's just a ridiculous thing to say, you know?
I would like to be the one to introduce you guys to this amazing concept given us by God. It's called different face shapes. I know it's like amazing. We all have different face shapes. I know, just like look at those faces. Isn't that amazing? I mean, wow.
Different face shapes. Like I said earlier, we artists often suffer same face syndrome occasionally. To fix same face syndrome is to experiment with different shapes for the eyes, nose, mouth, etc.
What? Can we bring it? Can you and I have it? Yeah. Alright. My mom gave me pasta, so I'm gonna be eating. Sorry if that grosses you out. So yeah, like different face shapes are a thing, and I know it's like quite surprising. And not all of the ears that you draw have to like be Dumbo ears, like they could just like fly away. I don't know, they literally look like they could just fly away.
Just fucking rude. Dumbo ears. What a nice thing to say when it comes to making a critique about someone's art.
So yeah, ears have a shape. Ears aren't just circles. I know that's just your art style, but you do it on every single human. So yeah. I know it's like a really popular thing to draw ears like that, but normal ears look fine too. Don't be racist against normal ears.
some artists draw circles for ears because that's accurately close to drawing them. Take Homestuck artists, for example. They don't often draw the ears since the creator don't tend to draw them, yet it doesn't stop people from drawing the character's ears anyway. Although they do draw the trolls having sheep goat-like ears to even elf ears. Also, how is it racist to draw ears like that? Unless that is if you're that person who draw racist cartoons from the 40s.
And another amazing concept, different noses exist too. I mean, look at these noses. Isn't that just fantastic? Noses are great. They're a blessing. I'm glad we can breathe oxygen.
For someone who often draws chibi art or art that is influenced by anime, this isn't really the case, especially if you're drawing a third, fourth view, or even drawing the front view of the face. Chibi art doesn't often require a nose, you could just not do it. It's just an optional thing. But when it comes to cartoons, I can see what you're going for. Noses have a variety of shapes and sizes, yes, but it varies from person to person, from comic book artists to mangakas, or even simple political cartoons.
And the reason why I highlighted the eyes is because all of those eyes are drawn the exact same, and I've noticed this a lot with people that have similar art styles. But I mean, like, look at these eyes. I personally just like love the Western way of drawing eyes because they're like really diverse. But if anime is more of your thing, then there you go.
Like Western cartoons, anime has different eye shapes and sizes as well. Artists often use simple shapes such as a rectangle, a square, a teardrop, and even a simple circle. You could take two characters from two different anime to see what set them apart from each other. This is just something I want to throw out there.
Renari has her secondary art style, and once again, it's all the same, so I'm not gonna bother repeating myself, but yeah, there you go. Practically the same. Basically, it's what I just say, you know, it's all the same faces, everything. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell these characters apart if it wasn't for the horns.
Did I hear what you just said? Same horns? They have different horns. If I show you 12 sets of horns that distinguish from each other, you can tell the difference from the size, shape, and height. I know this because I can tell them apart from each other. I know this is a nitpick, but they're not the same if you lay these pictures side by side.
But I've seen other people with this art style, you know, like huge circular heads, like bigger than the rest of their body, huge circle eyes and a normal body, and then really thin arms and legs, and then huge feet and really huge hands. But anyways, with this, I'd like to come to talk about mouths and how there's basically two different ways of drawing mouths in this art style, and then, you know, everything else is just like a fusion of these two mouths. So I've gone ahead and made a chart for you guys. The first one is closer to Renari's style, and the second one is like, you know, more Steven Universe-esque that I see a lot of people use.
And here we are, hitting a new low by critiquing someone's art over people drawing mouths. I have nothing to say on this since this is just her nitpicking about mouths, but simply say we just hit a new low.
With every art style ever, you can have the mouth go all the way like here. Like the person is like smiling like, huh, but the mouth will like, it'll be like, huh, and it'll go up to like the eye. I don't know what that demonstration just was, but just have a picture of it on screen. As you can see, like the mouth is like not where it's supposed to be.
Are you fucking with me? These are just mouths. I don't know why you're complaining about cartoon mouths. If you're going to proportion the mouth, then I see where you're going. You can put the edge of the mouth by aligning it with the eyes. Other than that, there's nothing you can do with the mouths, really.
Starbleach suffers immensely from Steven Universe mouth syndrome. That's what I like to call it. And Yopio suffers more from the first style of mouth, you know, having two dots. I mean, we do have like, you know, two dots for the mouth, but anyways. But then it's like the mouth just does whatever it wants to. There's really no structure to it because, you know, they don't draw the lips, so the mouth can just like do whatever it wants. It's kind of weird to me, but whatever. Whatever floats your freaking boat.
I hate to say this again, and yet then I want to repeat this again. It's cartoon. They're going for something for a modern cartoon look. It isn't that hard to know this, and I feel like you're not understanding cartoon anatomy at this point, or cartoon art in general.
But let me introduce you guys to another fantastic concept. It's called different types of lips. Here's some, you know, normal Western style lips, and then here's some anime lips, if you're into anime lips, mouths, you know, whatever is your thing.
I just want to say, Steven Universe has lips too, but if we're going by your logic of drawing mouths, then yeah, let's try to draw realistic mouths in a cartoon style because it's better. It's uncanny now that I think of it, something out of a creepy art house film, or something out of Creepshow's art, if I had to be real honest. We're already halfway through the video, and we're already down to the bottom of the barrel and into the ground.
The same nose is very prominent too. People like to dub this as the Tumblr nose because, you know, people that draw with this type of nose, you know, their art is primarily found on Tumblr. I've already showed examples with Renari, but here's Old Trash rocking that Tumblr nose, you know, and Yopio has really intense Tumblr nose, and Minky here displaying her awesome Tumblr nose.
From what I can remember, a Tumblr nose is a type of nose as if they have some kind of cold. There's nothing wrong with this type of nose other than they're just the way of drawing noses, or simply know that that's actually just the highlight or the shine. I have nothing to say about this, so we're just gonna start skipping.
Drawing with the every art style ever style really hinders your art progress because when it comes to drawing faces, when you draw literally the exact same face over and over again, your brain just gets so used to it, and you're not giving your brain the opportunity to step out of its comfort zone. And if you don't draw different face shapes or different ears, mouths, eyes, and noses, you're probably going to be stuck drawing the same thing over and over and over again. And then, you know, it'll be really hard to improve. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on why I think it hinders you from reaching your full potential.
Now, this is one thing I would agree on throughout the video. Okay, I'm repeating myself at this point. Although same face syndrome is hard to overcome to some artists, we continue attempting to experiment with different size of facial features, or in some cases, cartoonify facial structures. Even big animation studios like Disney even suffer from same face syndrome with their animated films like Frozen and Tangled. It's a common thing in the art community, yes, but by experimenting or cartoonify facial features, we can overcome this one thing we can all suffer from. TLDR, go apeshit with facial features, it will help you in the long run.
It really does kind of sadden me because these artists are so good at coloring. Like, I wish I was this good at coloring. Like, they're good at everything else. It's just the anatomy and their proportions that are just so off and kind of weird.
Now I know what you're doing, Franny. Is this a video just a nice way to downgrade and bully younger artists? Is that what it's about? I'm fucking surprised that even artists can go this far by criticizing art by making videos like this to bring them down and downgrading them. This isn't okay at all.
Whatever, I hope that advice will help someone out there. So let's go on to our next section, the bodies. I don't see too much of an issue with how these people draw bodies because everyone kind of draws them differently, but I do see the same mistakes with every one of them. Like, I've noticed the proportions are always really off and it's weird. Or they just never draw bodies and they only draw headshots like Minky does. Here's a picture I've decided to use as an example. For this one I used For this one, I've used art made by Yopio, and as you can see, the legs are 2 completely different sizes. Like, I know one of them is lifted up, but does your leg shrink when you lift it up in real life? I don't think so. If you do, you should probably see a doctor for that. Another thing I've highlighted is that the body is leaning forward, making everything else really unproportionate to what the pose is supposed to be.
Did you sleep over anatomy class? Poses are often meant to be fluid, even when it comes to drawing gestures. From what you did right there, you made the pose stiffer, and it wouldn't make this piece any better if you stiffened the pose like that. The spine isn't meant to be straight, you know. It's a simple curve that supports the weight of our body and the way we control our movements. It's common sense. To understand drawing poses, we need to know how the body moves.
And that's something I've noticed a lot with beginner artists, is how they always make their characters lean forward, and I'm just like, stop. So I've gone ahead and corrected it based on the pose she was trying to achieve. I kind of messed up on the foot. The foot is actually on the ground and not kind of like floating along with the other leg, and the other leg is actually the same size as the one that's on the ground, and her body is straight up.
That can simply be fixed by flipping the canvas horizontally. If you don't want your drawings to lean over, simply flip the canvas. Or in some cases when you're sketching using the transformation tool. Control H or H, or simply Control T. Those are the shortcuts for those in the desktop peeps out there.
Here's another example. This art is by Minky, of the proportions being incorrect with basically the same pose. Only difference is that one arm is shorter than the other. The reason why I'm highlighting proportions is because, you know, if you don't, you kind of are, you start thinking like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just, you know, not looking at this correctly. And so you kind of brush it off, but if you actually go in and draw the proportions and the shapes, then you start to notice the mistakes.
I think I'm wrong on this, but they are doing this because they're using perspective. I have no comment about perspective other than it's simply used to make angle shots or portraits, even in little doodles like the one she just highlighted.
So yeah, this art here is by Marbleach. I've picked this one out because I noticed that people that draw with this art style never really draw knees or any proportion to the leg whatsoever. It just ends up looking like one long sausage with feet attached to them. And they seem to draw really tiny bodies with no waist. But those are people that draw closer to the Steven Universe style, so yeah.
The waist is right there. You can see the waist, how the portion of the body goes inward. It's below the rib cage. I don't see that's the problem. You're just not looking at it very clearly.
When I first looked at this art, it's by Old Trash, I couldn't really tell what was wrong with it, but then I realized something's off, but I just couldn't tell. So I went ahead and highlighted the shapes and proportions, and then I took away the background. And now you can see what I'm talking about. You know, the head is really tiny compared to the body and the arms. The shoulders are really short, and then the forearm is really short, and the hands are huge. The body is basically just a square, and the legs are really long and oddly close together. I don't know if I'm making sense with this, but I hope I am.
No, not really. You highlighted the bulky jacket, giving the body a rectangular shape, number 1. Number 2, the angle of the drawing is downward up, which is why the body looks odd. And the reason why the head and the shoulders look smaller than normal. Is angle perspective also every art style ever? No, it's a common thing. You can draw someone crouching inside a box, draw the angle and foreshortening of the drawing, and yet you still think it's not proportional.
Now, you may be thinking, Fran, it's just their art style. A ton of cartoonists draw with weird proportions in their art. That's true. However, cartoonists need to make everything proportionate to each other. They need to make things harmonize so that it looks good. These artists don't do that, and they don't make things harmonize. To make things look good together with weird proportions, you need to first learn the basics of anatomy. You need to learn actual real-life proportions, because to break the rules of art, you have to first learn them.
When I mentioned earlier in the video saying that although the easier answer is it's their art style, they can tell that there are flaws in their art the more they improve along the way. And this goes the same thing for cartoonists too. Cartoon anatomy is important. They follow the same rules for still life, gesture drawing, and even drawing little people. I'll post a link to Lavender Town's cartoon anatomy video in the description for more information about to save time, since I don't want to bore people with this video and it's already 11 minutes in. The video is already done. It's just her repeating herself over and over again about the "it's my art style" argument. A month later, after the video was uploaded, people weren't very happy and thought this was a way to bully people's art with shit that was just said, and criticized every aspect about the video. Fran then responded with a long post that I shortened. To summarize, she said that art is not just sunshine and rainbows, and although the video was a mean way to criticize people's art, she said that to, quote, "Don't let my words stop you from doing art. Instead, take the anger and prove it upon yourself." From what I had to say about this post, it's just a lot of bullcrap, and this is not a way on how to improve people's artwork. Saying things that these are Dumbo ears or in long sausage with legs isn't criticism. This is just coming from an asshole, really, and it's just downright bullying. If there was a way to fix this video, you would have said, instead of doing this, I would do this instead. But giving out examples, showing examples and saying these phrases, that's just downright mean. What the hell's wrong with you? I hope you understand that this is not how to give younger artists advice. That's just downright rude. You know, when I made this script, I thought it would be fun to point out a few comments here and there, but as I continue editing this video, I thought, you know, it's hard to point out something that I want to explain, and I thought it'd be a perfect time for me to say this from the heart. This fucking behavior needs to fucking stop, and I think this should be a lesson to anyone who did this, that this is not okay. This is not a very good video. So I hope you guys understand. And I would like to thank Junkie for helping me out with this video by simply giving me advice. I would like to thank him for this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.